So this is our second community input meeting, and glad to have everybody here. We'll try to get this microphone situated a little bit, so we'll kind of yak for a couple minutes. Glad to have everybody here. I told Mr. Beasley earlier in the week, I said we're going to have half the crowd, and I would say maybe slightly less than half the crowd, but I think that's okay. Through the night, we'll give a couple of updates that we had since last time, and we're going to welcome. There's a couple of things I want to point out, some events and some other things that happened since last time, but we'll go from there. We're going to kind of procedurally. Sorry here.
Put it in your front pocket.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Procedurally, it would be very, very similar to last time. We're going to have this as an open mic night for the most part. There are a couple of ground rules that we want to have that go along with that. So we do want the procedure to be a positive input meeting. Not that there can't be negative comments, because we absolutely want those. It's important to identify negatives so we can make improvements upon those and turn those into positives. However, what we don't want is, I don't feel this way. I'm going to use Brennan as an example, but I think Brent is the most horrible person in the world. Okay, so those aren't the comments we want tonight. I might say, I don't like the way Brent does this. Okay, but Brent is an amazing guy. He does everything wonderfully well. So obviously, that won't be an expectation tonight. But I do know, sometimes emotions can get the best of us, and we do want to keep this as a positive environment. Okay? So first of all, I did not invite anybody individually to come. So that was nobody from the school, nobody from the city, nobody from the township, nobody from wherever, with the exception of Brent, who does a fantastic job. He's going to be the man on the street. For the most part, he'll hold the microphone, and if things get out of hand, he can quickly pull it away. From looking around in the crowd, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we've got a really good group of folks here tonight. So, with that understanding, the first thing, as we did last time, and that kind of sets the tone, the first thing we want to do tonight, and I don't care who it is, I'll come up with something if I need to, but we automatically start our meeting with a positive comment of any kind from anyone in any direction. The only thing it needs to be is positive. We'll go from there with any other comments. But that does set a nice tone for the evening. So hopefully we don't have to end this meeting because nobody can't think of one positive thing to say. So please raise your hand. Okay. This exact same thing happened last time, so we had to get the ball rolling. All right. There we go. Katie.
Oh, I don't need a microphone. Thank you, Brent, but I think I'm loud enough.
So, the other quick thing, for anyone that doesn't know, please state your name first, and then state your comment.
Okay, I'm Katie Nichols. I'm the principal of Blue Ridge Intermediate Junior High School, and I am a few minutes late. I apologize because I just came from the PIE meeting, which is Partners in Education over at Schneider, and I just want to say that I really appreciate all of the support they've given our students and staff this year. It's been wonderful, and so thank you to Jessica DeMars for heading that up. I really appreciate that.
All right. Let's see, just to kind of get a feel for who's here, just by a show of hands, this input evening is based on Farmer City, Mansfield, Bellflower, Blue Ridge School District. But just by a show of hands, who all here lives in a Farmer City zip code? Okay. Mansfield? Bellflower? Anywhere else? Got it. Okay. So as in last time, most of our interaction typically involves Farmer City and Blue Ridge schools. So our next step is, we had a wonderful conversation. I'm going to put you on the spot here last time with a person that moved to town by mistake, if I remember the story right.
Something like that.
So found Farmer City His realtor, they were within a certain radius. Farmer City was just outside of that radius. Moved to Farmer City 6 months ago, or approximately. We got to welcome the guy at our community input meeting. So we're going to put him on the spot, and we're going to see how things have been going with him in the last 6 months. And then we're going to start getting some more comments here. So say your name again. And
my name is Michael Madden, and it has been just about 6 months since my wife and daughter and I moved here. So far, I would say our experience has been good and bad. The good has definitely been the people. That's been a major positive for us. The people have been friendly, and they've seemed genuine, which is really important to us, and I think that's a real positive for this community going forward. The bad has been some of this mess with the council and how some people involved have handled themselves, and really even more disappointing is some of the reaction that I've seen on Facebook through public discussions from community members, and it's typically, well, Farmer City is nothing but a bunch of crooks that are running it, and then the response is usually, well, why don't you run and do something about it? And then that person will say, well, that's too big of a mess, I don't want to get into that. But that's not good enough. Like, we have to be better than that. And I get that there's a lot of anger in this town, and I think probably a lot of it's justified from what I've read. But we can't let that anger turn into apathy and just throw our hands up and say, well, there's nothing we can do about it. So that's my hope tonight and going forward, is that we can get some real action and improve the community.
excellent. So thank you. Sorry. That was. And honest to God, I didn't say I was going to ask him any questions, but you were prepared. And again, we're glad you're in town. We really are. And it is interesting what we do and say and act and react, and Facebook, and Facebook goes everywhere. But it is interesting that maybe outside perceptions. Are you getting most of those perceptions, or you said people? There's nothing, your comment was there's nothing but crooks running the town or in that town, or I don't know the exact comment, that's fine. But were those comments coming mostly from folks that you knew outside of town, or were those coming from inside?
I don't know. I don't know specifically where they are from. They've been public discussions.
On Facebook.
I haven't even been able to, I don't have to even be their friend to watch a public discussion. So a lot of them do have Farmer City on their profile. Okay, so those are Facebook comments that you're reading that you happen to come across. Okay, got it. That's really important. And that, again, that's an interesting thought, because Facebook is everywhere. Good, bad, or otherwise. And obviously, social media is an easy way to make a somewhat anonymous. Not necessarily anonymous, but a comment that we're not face to face. So, Facebook. But thanks for that. Thanks for that comment. And you have kids in school yet? She'll start school in the fall. She'll
Very
start
good.
kindergarten, yeah.
And she's excited.
She is excited. She's a little nervous, she says.
Good. Let's move on. Any other comments that we have? Anyone want to make a statement of any kind? Yes.
My name is Liz Lesser. About a year ago, Sue Orr and I put posters around town talking about a caring community, with statements about how you could be a caring community. And since then, I think we started last time when we had a community meeting to have a caring community, and it would be very sad to see that go by the wayside. One of the most positive things that came out of that was the work that was done at the campground south of town. That was just absolutely amazing what a group of people could do in just a few days. And everybody pitched in many different kinds of levels and got the job done. There are things that I'm still concerned about that I would like to see people invest in. There are three things. One is a program. I put some notes out there about it. It's called Rebound Program. It's a program for the kids who are suspended from school so that they can come and have supervision, keep up with their studies, and have some help with whatever it is that's causing them to act out. We also have permission with the courts, so that if kids are actually sent away from school or get in trouble with the courts, that they will work with us and want us to work with the courts so that the kids will get some help. That's one program that I'm really interested in right now, and getting mentors. The second program is a community garden. We've had a community garden here for about, what, 5-6 years. Some people have individual plots of the garden. Other people, we have an area that goes for anybody that will to work there, can have the produce from that from a very limited expense. Last year, we offered just to the people who were at the food pantry and asked if they would help. They could have the produce that they worked on, and we got 0 responses, which was really disappointing because I think fresh produce is very important. The third program is one about caring community. We may be losing our grocery store, I hope not, but we have a lot of seniors in town and people who don't drive and can't get out and need assistance. The caring community is looking for people to help with those kinds of situations where the elderly or handicapped can't drive or can't get things done and need assistance. Thank you.
So one of the interesting points there on that, and I'm sorry I was turning up and down the microphone a little bit in the back because I feel like I'm hearing myself breathe over the intercom, is sometimes a lack of volunteers, a lack of and I don't think that's special to Farmer City, Mansfield, Bellflower, Blue Ridge. That's something that goes on everywhere. But obviously when we come together, things tend to work well, and when we don't, we struggle. So, but absolutely some great things you're talking about. And I know the community garden. There's been some people that have worked really hard on that over the years, and that can be a great resource for some families. So thank you, Liz. Any comments in any direction that we want to go yet? Okay, let me ask a couple. Jessica, did you have?
Well, it's only a suggestion. I think we have so many small groups around town doing so many different things that it makes it very difficult for everybody to go to all the different things or volunteer at so many different things, that with groups like what Liz is talking about, it helps to pair up. Pair up with the Key Club at the high school. Pair up with something else. I mean, the kids aren't going to learn if they ain't going to do it. And it really does help. Then you don't have that, because they're trying to do a project. They're trying to create a whole new project. They don't have to. Projects are there. Yeah. And I mean, the campground proved that. I mean, there was 100, there had to be 100 people in some way, shape, or form on short notice. I was out there myself working on that campground. It was, what are you going to do? Saturday morning? Okay, sure. Nothing else. Let's do that.
Yeah, I have talked to the school already about getting them involved. So far, they have not responded, but I have talked to them about it.
I believe in a general sense, if I recall, some of the school representatives can maybe help me on this. A high school student, maybe younger, can have on their transcript community service hours that are noted on there. So I think the opportunity exists within the school, and sometimes it's just maybe the kids are, I don't know, maybe the kids aren't aware, or they are aware, or the community groups aren't aware or are aware, but that's a great opportunity for some of our students to actually.
Kids are easily distracted. We just have to guide them.
Absolutely.
I mean, distracted.
Hey, we're all easily distracted, so I get it, yes. So let's just talk generalities, since most everyone in here was Farmer City. Just by a show of hands, and we did this, I don't remember what it was for last time, and our scale is negative, generally negative, generally positive, or positive. So let's talk about the city of Farmer City in itself. And if we had to rate the city of Farmer City overall, there's no specific category. How many people in the room would rate the city of Farmer City as generally negative? Okay. Sorry, I already messed up the order. So the first one is negative. Let's start with negative. Who would say negative? Generally negative. Generally positive. And positive. Okay.
I like it here.
Thank you. There you go.
I do.
Okay. Let's do the same with the school district. Blue Ridge School District. Negative. Generally negative. Generally positive. I'm sorry. I'm giving our 4 choices. Generally positive or positive. Okay. So negative by a show of hands. Generally negative. Generally positive. Positive. Okay. Also, generally positive. 2 positive had more. There was a slightly more negative than maybe the city, but kind of an interesting place. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Scott while we're all focusing on our excitement that we can't wait to say next. Scott Kelly was here at the last meeting, and we never know what's going to happen out here. I mean, honestly, I'm mostly worried about security and potentially, negative, really negative stuff. That didn't happen last time. I don't think it's going to happen tonight. But the point is, Scott came in with an idea and said, hey, we need to do some things at South Park. Scott jumps on Facebook, gets a group of people together. They get something done. They get something amazing done at South Park. There's some people in here I know volunteers. There's some other people I know help with food. There's some of those things. And got a project done very quickly. And it was that kind of commitment, that kind of work that when we think, do we do another input meeting? It's something like that when you see, hey, there is a positive that came out of this. And because of that, that's why we're here the second time. So hopefully that will instill folks to do some things. And as Scott Kelly's reward, he was just recently appointed to be on the council. Was that a reward? Did he think that was a reward? No comment, not a problem. But Scott Kelly is now our new appointed councilman. And I'm just going to throw this out there. I think Scott is a wonderful choice to be there. So, with that, moving on. The excitement tonight is we may be streaming live. Are we streaming live tonight?
Yes.
We are. So let's wave to everybody. And this will be recorded for future, for you to see down the road, which I think maybe even as early as Saturday morning. So, any other comments? I bet you have a comment there. Get us started. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Let me just piggyback off of what you said earlier. As far as shut-ins and everything, people needing assistance with getting groceries and stuff. Inevitably, I think we can all see the writing on the wall that we're headed that direction. And I think we do need to figure out what we should be doing to prepare for that and to get programs set up, whether we have a motion put before the city and we vote on it, whether we have to raise taxes or something. I don't know. Sorry, I said the horrible word, raise taxes. But how we can figure out creatively how we could fund something like that. But more importantly, I would look bigger picture because our city has been on a decline, which we established that last time a little bit. Some areas we're trying to do some things, and we're trying to improve the outlook and the attractiveness of our city, but some things have been going down for a long time that we haven't righted. I would say business-wise, I would like to see more, some stronger efforts in consultation to our businesses so that they can make level-headed decisions with their businesses, especially people who are wanting to come that are prospective business owners and starting businesses here. Take our grocery store, for example. Everybody knows we haven't been able to support our grocery store for a long time, and it's been going downhill, and it's a sad deal. In my opinion, I would say we only needed a grocery store half the size of what we had. I think we could have sustained that, we could have supported, and they could have, stayed in business. I think realistically, if we had any chance of keeping a grocery store, it needs to be half the size until we can grow our city and support it the way we should. I would say that would probably be the same for other businesses as well. Just so we can make objective decisions with our businesses and in our town so that we're not, thinking we can shoot to the moon in little old Farmer City when that's not feasible. So I would just say, just for the success and the future of our town, making level-headed decisions when it comes to our businesses and business decisions is really important.
Okay, so I'm going to piggyback off those comments just a little bit. So the city has recently announced 2 business districts, and I don't know how. I don't know how much people know or aware or those things, so I'm not going to assume anything. A business district basically increases sales tax in a certain area. That increase in sales tax then is used to financially help or attract or whatever other business. Now it's set up in 2 business districts so they could piggyback off each other. Only one area has a sales tax increase. That is typically for Farmer City. I don't have the exact map in front of me, but it is the Casey's area, the Hucks area, the main drag right out there, and that what was approved was a 1% sales tax increase. So it would take Farmer City's effective tax rate, sales tax rate from 6.25 to 7.25 in that area. So just by a show of hands, that's projected to bring $30,000 to $40,000 a year, which goes into this business district. Just by a show of hands, how many people generally think, we're going to do generally negative, generally positive, those are our only options. How many people think that is generally a negative move, setting up business districts? Okay? And how many by a show of hands think that is a generally positive move? Okay, substantially more. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why isn't it just set up as one? There's 2 separate districts.
So mine, and again, I'm not the council, or I didn't necessarily have any input that. But the question was, why was that set up as two separate taxing districts? And the answer, and I don't want to answer incorrectly, but the answer is so that different businesses might be affected differently by a tax rate increase. So a small mom and pop business on Main Street would not have a tax increase, whereas a Casey's can absorb a tax increase maybe slightly. It will affect their business maybe slightly less or less. And so the rationale behind that was one will get an increase in tax, the other will not, but both areas, because there are 2 adjoining tax districts, they both can benefit.
Didn't we vote on this? Wasn't it on the ballot?
That was not on the ballot.
Or what was the one?
So what was on the ballot was a school sales tax referendum, and that was a 1% sales tax countywide for DeWitt County. And that 1% sales tax increase, that actually was defeated roughly 55% to 45%. And that money could be used for buildings and infrastructure and those things. And that was not passed.
Well, I thought there was another one. No?
I don't recall another one, but I'm not saying there. Oh, then there was the fire district. That was probably the third. I'm sorry, the ambulance district. So the ambulance district was the max
So
tax
1%
rate
was-
levy went from 30 to 40 cents, and that one did, overwhelmingly, that one passed. Yes. But good question. Okay, so I'm going to follow up with the second half of that question. So there had been some discussion regarding a future TIF district. Now, a TIF district is slightly different, and that affects real estate taxes. It doesn't increase taxes, it just reapportions those taxes. So if someone's paying $2,000 in real estate taxes, they continue to pay $2,000 in real estate taxes. However, the increase would go into the TIF district, and that TIF district would be used for business development, business incentives, lots and lots of business items. Okay, so that is a longer-term project, and obviously as properties improve, more and more monies go into a TIF. Now, obviously, as most of you know, and this is where we have Facebook discussions, many of those discussions involved TIF, and there were some negatives that came out of that, and we've all read and heard and seen those things. But taking those things out of the picture, we're just by show of hands only, and then we're going to go to school here real quick, because I want to talk to this gentleman right here, is we have generally negative, generally positive. A TIF has been had been talked about. I don't know the status of it recently, but just quick show of hands, feelings. TIF district, new district, TIF district, excuse me, generally negative. Is that a generally negative? By a show of hands. And generally positive by a show of hands. Okay, very good. Not very good, just thank you. Okay, any other questions on kind of those taxation things or comments? I feel like I'm doing way too much talking here, so I need some help. Comment. Okay, here we go. Thank you.
I'm Sharon Steiger from Outreach. We deal with seniors of the community. I have been very concerned about our grocery store. I have made arrangements that we will have transportation if our store does close. I have transportation arranged that will come to town, pick up our seniors, and take them to Clinton, where they have access to the IGA, Save A Lot, Walmart, different stores down there. So I have got that arranged. I don't want to do it before the store closes, because if we can keep it, let's keep it. Let's not take any more business away from it. But that has been done.
So and I'm not about rumors, but I'm not necessarily about rumors, and this is completely, absolutely a rumor I've just heard randomly on the street, so don't think there's any insight here, but not completely randomly. But there is some talk of potentially a buyer with the grocery store, and if that happens, hopefully there'll be some changes within the store, but thank you for that, because that our seniors really are those that would be greatly affected by the closing of a grocery store. Someone else wanted to make a comment, I think, before we go on to school. Yes?
Just on the TIF thing, and this is just my opinion when you were talking in the generally, I don't generally think it's an awful idea, but I think currently it's something that should be tabled until we get through all of the stuff that they're dealing with. It's nice to say, set it aside, don't think about it. You can't, you gotta wait.
Right, and that, yes, and I appreciate that, because that wasn't, my intent was not to say, but I wanted to take those things out of the picture, and I absolutely agree that they need to make sure, the city needs to make sure, if it moves forward, it's absolutely done correctly, and always done correctly. So that's absolutely correct. Okay, any other comments anywhere in those regards whatsoever? Yes, sir.
Well, unfortunately, we made TIF a four-letter word, and it's got a pretty sour taste in everybody's mouth at this point. but I think it is something that we probably need to continue to do. I'm not real knowledgeable in the workings of it. I understand the people that were involved with it are probably some of the people that could have actually used it. But then we go back to our volunteerism that we were talking about earlier. You know, our new council member is over here, he volunteers his time to do that. Our city manager, our police chief, our firemen. I mean, volunteerism in a community this size is very important. You know, when we're talking about if our grocery store closes, we're going to need volunteers or somebody to get our seniors to other outlets for their groceries and stuff. But, you know, we've got a lot of people in this room that volunteer a lot of their time. We've got a Boy Scout leader, we've got a youth minister, we've got a couple firemen. And, you know, I think if we're going to improve as a group, we're all going to have to take a little bit of our time and go towards the goal of making Farmer City a better place.
You're doing good.
You know, I thought the over-under on somebody saying Facebook was going to be about 5 minutes, so everybody bet on the under. You got it real quick. Unfortunately, we live in a society that everybody throws their dirty laundry out on Facebook. Now, there were some mistakes made on Facebook. We cannot degrade the people that made those comments. But then there's also the same people that are not willing to give their time, degrading the people that are giving their time to this community, and not giving them the benefit of the doubt of making a simple mistake. You know, we need to step behind our community leaders, because these are the leaders that we have. These are the people that have stepped up and are willing to do the job. Are they going to make mistakes? Of course they are. But in general, they are trying. I know they're looking for the betterment of Farmer City. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Scott, you showed up a little late. We already commented on your great achievements at South Park, and as a reward / punishment, you get to be our new city councilman. So welcome. I'm glad you're here, and thanks for coming. So, any other comments along those lines? All right. So I want to, and we've never met, by the way. I'm Drew Coleman.
Drew O'Connell.
All right, good to meet you. Drew O'Connell is our new girls basketball coach as of last year for Blue Ridge, and for those anyone that doesn't know, I am on the Blue Ridge School Board, and we don't ever. And by the way, this irritates me because all we ever get is a name. You know, we get a name. This is who we want to hire, but. Drew O'Connell, so doesn't mean anything until all of a sudden Facebook shows up, and all of a sudden I see all this really cool stuff from Coach O'Connell about girls basketball, and I hear these parents, and I hear these high school girls making wonderful, wonderful comments about the new coach, about how excited they are to play basketball. I'm waiting on a doctor's appointment, and I'm watching a basketball video about high school girls basketball that this young man put together. So the first thing I want to do is thanks for coming to Blue Ridge, and I want to welcome you to the meeting tonight, and I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad we got to officially meet.
Thank you.
But tell us your story. Tell us what brought you to the school district. Other than it was just a job, and they're the
All
only
about the money. No. I actually have a twin brother that teaches at Champaign and coaches at University High on the campus of Illinois. So, well, family connection there. I was at Canton Point Central, or by Quincy, Illinois, for 5 years when I coached girls, and then I came this way to get closer to family and whatnot. And I actually have an aunt and uncle that live in Farmer City. So, for probably the last 5 years, I was bringing my kids to the Easter egg hunt anyways, so I already knew about this area. So when I started looking for jobs this way, I saw Blue Ridge was posted, and kind of just had an in, about the location and whatnot. So that's kind of how I ended up in Blue Ridge most.
Fantastic. Do you live in the district?
We moved. I was driving from Decatur, and we found a rental house in January. So we moved on like New Year's Eve night. That's how I spent my New Year's Eve night. Things have changed, but so yeah, I'm actually about a block from the school. So.
You are? Okay, fantastic. So you had some past community experience
Yep.
with Farmer City and even part of the school district a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, my aunt's pretty involved in the school district, and I mean, of course, the first thing I ask is how are the sports with my uncle and stuff, and kind of, I'm big on sports and community. I think the two together can really make your community stand out. I mean, people check the newspaper every day, they see scores, they see you're successful or not, and if it's a positive thing for your athletes, so.
Right. So what is, now that you live in Farmer City, give us your impression.
Of course, I love it. My boss is behind me, so.
Tonight he's not your boss. Totally not.
Best experience ever. I mean, I do hear negative things, but I mean, I take a lot of pride in teaching here, so I look past that. I honestly have not had a bad experience here. I guess, you know, I do rent. I have a house in File, Illinois that I'm renting out, and when I sell that, I would like to look to buy something in the district. And like for my price range, like my concern is there's really nothing in my price range to buy, even if I wanted to like live in Farmer City.
If you're looking over 300,000, I've got a house.
No, I guess I'm a teacher, so I'm well below that. But honestly, just like even like the 100,000 or 150,000 range for like middle class family, you know.
Not too teasing. Yeah, you don't have to give us all your money.
You tell me to do, I'll take it. But anyways, that's one thing I'm concerned about moving forward is like, you know, how am I going to put my roots down if I, you know, there's really not like property per se to buy. And I feel like that's being so close to Muhammad that Muhammad's pretty expensive.
Right.
And I just had my brother buy a house in Muhammad, even though I was trying to get this way. And I feel like if we could be a little bit cheaper than Muhammad, we could get, I guess, maybe the leftover, you know, the families like mine that are looking in that price range. But honestly, there's just nothing to buy right now in that price range.
Okay.
Unless you know something, let me know. I mean, just looking online and stuff. So.
No, I get it. So maybe more available housing, newer housing?
Yeah, I mean, we not brand new, of course, in that price range, but
Right.
newer, yeah.
Newer, yep. Okay.
So,
All right. Fantastic. Anything else you want to add? How's the team going to be this year?
we actually, this is off the record, but we have 2 girls coming back from St. Thomas More.
It's not off the record. It's on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. But anyways, I feel like, I mean, that's a win in itself because it kind of makes a statement that Blue Ridge is good enough for, I mean, athletes like that. So I was pretty happy about that. And honestly, we're always looking to volunteer. I guess one negative I would say is I have to like kind of look really hard to volunteer. And I wish like community members would hit us up on Facebook, tell me a project, and we'll be there. I also teach work-related and alternative education in the high school. And like I just had one of my students email, I'm not sure who in the community, but it's been 4 days and we haven't heard anything back. We're trying to volunteer. So just maybe reach us, reach out for us too. That's what I would say. So.
Fantastic. Your email will be, I guarantee it'll be full of moms. So
Yeah, that's fine.
Take the microphone over there, and we'll get another comment.
So I know that Drew is a very modest person. Maybe not totally, but I just can't say enough good about him. Like he brings such a positive energy to school, and really took on a program last year that had very few wins. And came in just absolutely smoke rolling, like so excited, and just has such an energy about him that just makes. I mean, I want to be on the girls' basketball team. Like I would do stats, but he just really does bring that energy, and I think it just really shows. It shows us how much a positive attitude does have an impact on everybody. And I see a few familiar faces from the district strategic planning meeting that we had. And at that strategic planning, one of the major statements that was made was that there is a lot of good here, and we just need to figure out how to celebrate it more and how to publicize it more. And I know that I've taken a few notes from that meeting, and to just keep pushing the positive things. Keep pushing the positive things out there. that's going on. I know that Mr. Lawrence at least once a year puts in the board report, the percentage of students who received like no disciplinary action at all. And I'm not sure exactly what the percentage is, but it's always very high. I mean, it's something like 80% of our students get 0, and that's, kids get one detention, right, every now and then, right? Like you make too many fart jokes or something, right? And like you've been inappropriate and your teacher writes you a detention. But like something like 80% of our students have gotten 0. And so, we really try to celebrate that and really show, that we have a strong majority of students who are making good choices and, who are doing good things. And I would really echo what Drew is saying about volunteerism and, groups that, we need to somehow go both ways on that street. Like, yeah, we need volunteers, and we also need those groups that need volunteers to let other groups know. And I know that my stepdaughter's 4-H group is volunteering with the Garden Club in a couple of weeks because, they reached out and they said sure, and so all it takes is, that reaching out and to say, we really need volunteers, and they can be unskilled kids, because I really agree that volunteerism is super important. I think it makes a big difference on resumes, on college applications, on, scholarship applications, but also just in, like, career choice. I'm sorry, my name is Leslie Whitehouse, and I'm the school counselor. But also, I think it makes a big deal on career choices. A lot of times I talk to students who say, oh, I really don't have any idea what I want to do for a career, and my advice to them is to get a job. You'll learn really quick what you like and what you don't like once you start working, or once you start volunteering somewhere. You're really going to see what you like and what you don't like. And so I really think that volunteerism, it does shape our students into those well-rounded students who kind of have a clue on what they might want to do, after high school. So yeah, let's definitely communicate better on, what you want our high school kids to do as far as volunteerism. We have a designated club for volunteerism, and we have a Key Club, which is a Kiwanis Junior Club. So we've got kids who are willing.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. So a couple of quick things I just wanted to pick up on there. Obviously, volunteerism again is a theme from this meeting tonight. Darn it, the other one was even really more
Positive
impressive.
attitude, celebrating good.
It'll come to me. I saw a hand over here. We'll get back to it.
I would just say that I totally agree with you guys. And as organizations, you finding volunteer opportunities, that's great. But even as individuals, it's been incredibly difficult for my wife and I to figure out what to do here in town. Like, I didn't even realize, we happened to drive by the food pantry on a day that they were giving out, they were distributing food, and the line's almost down the street. I had no idea that need existed, and I went online to look to try to find something about it, couldn't find it. So I agree with them that organizations need to know that, but if there is a central hub where individuals could find information, that would be really helpful. And I did see a good thing on Facebook was the South Park thing, and we saw that was going on, and that was an amazing thing. We weren't able to help because we were in the middle of a home improvement project, but that was a great opportunity that was well publicized.
Right, so your comment was finding things to do, meaning finding volunteer things to do.
Right, volunteer things to do,
okay.
yes.
Fantastic. Any other comments? Okay, so we have a couple of folks here. My wife told me not to say the things I did, but I'm going to say one of the boards I'm on, DeWitt County Development Council, and I'm on that board as well. Kevin is the president of the council. Thank you. And the reason I want to point that out is for a couple of reasons. I attend, Larry Bowling, the city manager, attends as well, and part of some of the things we talked about, that is an organization along with local government and others that try to bring more business, more activities to DeWitt County, Farmer City, those types of things. So there actually is a physical organization that is jumping in to assist in any way possible, I guess. But a couple things I want to point out from that is on April 16th, the University of Illinois actually has a rowing competition, and it is in Farmer City address. It is at the Parnell Access, which is Liberty Road, for those that are familiar with that. It will have a total of 15 or 16, I don't remember offhand, universities that will compete that Saturday morning. Obviously several athletes, several spectators. They will row. This rowing competition will go from the Parnell Access approximately to Route 48. This is their second year at that location, and I pride myself kind of on knowing, gosh, everything that goes on, and I had no idea that happened. Ironically, DCDC and some others, we're trying to make that a permanent location for the University of Illinois rowing team, and that would mean several things, but having that be their designated permanent course would be incredibly important, I think, for Farmer City. And that is something that, does that bring, a business to town? No, but it probably brings a whole lot of spectators down the road, and it also gets our name out there worldwide, not just statewide, not just Midwest-wide, but worldwide. That takes the coordination, how that has to come together, coordination of the Department of Natural Resources, actually coordination of Exelon, coordination of the university, coordination of some other things. But what has happened is this year they're going to have 3 race events. In the past they've had 1. They'll have the large one on the 16th. The next 2 weekends there'll be smaller competitions. But that opens up the possibilities to potentially a high school rowing team. There are high schools in the Chicago area that will use this course if it becomes permanent. There's a possibility of even Olympic trials, actually, at this course, believe it or not. So it could be a huge thing. So sometimes when I wanted to point that out, and I wanted to congratulate the good work that DCDC is doing with that, including Larry and several others. But that opens up some wonderful doors. Sometimes we don't always hear about these things. I know it was now. So, and I think this is very true of our town, of Mansfield, Bellflower, the state of Illinois. But the comment was made that Mr. Lawrence posts all the kids that didn't do anything. They didn't get in trouble this month or this year. And how true that is of our communities. So when we read something on Facebook, it can be very overwhelming to hear or see or read all these sometimes very negative comments. You think, oh my God, they're screwed up, the town's screwed up, all of these things. 99% of the people, that's not how they feel. That 1% of the people is making that impression for the rest of us. So that was my point, that I wanted to take that even a little bit bigger, and it's certainly true in our schools. And by the way, I never got into detention from kindergarten on. I asked for one once, but the teacher wouldn't actually give it to me. Okay. All right, other comments. Let's keep going. Yes, sir.
I don't need a mic.
Okay.
I've asked around a couple times, and the city's pretty open. We broadcast our council meetings. Lynn is our reporting guy. And I've asked around, though, about the school district being more open on what goes on up there. I think that the general public would feel better about the workings of the Blue Ridge schools if they would do the same thing that the city does and broadcast their meetings, so we have a better understanding of the business of the school district. And I don't know I kind of get the negative when I inquire about that, or I get, well, we've talked about it, but it's never happened. And I myself would just like to see that happen.
So just a real quick comment. I will bring that up at the next meeting that we have, which is in a couple weeks. But the second half of that comment is my comments are probably the reason they don't want to videotape. So other comments, questions? Yes. Let's go to the back.
I just want to say we got the volunteerism. If anybody in this room would like to volunteer for Heritage Days, which is the community event that we have coming up in June, I'm one of the co-directors, and you can contact McKinley Water, and I will give you any task that you are willing to do for Heritage Days. And we can use as many volunteers as humanly possible that weekend. So the first weekend in June, and we hope everybody in the community comes out because we're working very hard. There's a very small group of us.
There's
literally
5 women.
5 of us that do this, and it is a major, major event in our town. And there's a lot of money, and there's not very many people doing it. And yeah, we have Sammy Kershaw coming, so we've really stepped it up this year to really try to bring the community together, because obviously we're having issues with that here recently. And so, yeah.
Is there a number?
Yeah, 928-3361. And I'm there Monday through Friday, 8 to 4.
Okay.
So for anyone that doesn't know, the Heritage Day really has taken a big step forward this year to make that to make a big splash with some of the music and rides and those things. So it's going to be I think you'll see a noticeable difference this year, and not that it wasn't a very noticeable event anyway, but I think it's going to be a big step upwards. So, other questions, comments? Yes.
I got one more. Okay. Just. It's more school-based, I guess. Oh, did I turn it off?
Okay, it's more school-based, and just promoting our town. One of the ways that I think we could continue to promote our schools is highlighting and doing interviews with our students. I saw that Aston McGee, he was in the paper. She's one of my students. I'm student pastor at VCC, so when I say students, I'm not an actual, I am a teacher, but not every day. Anyway, she has just really surprised me, just finding her passion in life before she goes to college is an awesome thing. But just being able to highlight those things, and also being able to have them go talk to the younger kids. I know, what was it when I was growing up? What is the Nights in Action? Or Night Buddies, yeah. Being able to just improve that and expand that a little bit, because I see in my line of business, I see a lot of students, and I know what their lives are like. I know what their home lives are like and all that stuff. And a lot of our students, I mean, she's had a lot of challenges in her life, and see her finding something she can be passionate about and propel her in school and all that stuff and have a future, and she's excited about that. I want to see more students grow up that come from more difficult situations in their life, not say, I'm not going to amount to anything, but they see other students that have done it, and they can have them come talk to them. What else? Yeah, I think that's it. Just being able to talk to the younger students, because it's not, even though I'm a student pastor, kids is where it's at, because that's looking more long term. If you just focus on the students that are in high school right now, that's just a band-aid. But if we start inspiring our younger kids in the elementary schools and everything like that, and having the kids that are, being successful on the sports teams and, finding their passion in life in different areas, or just leveling with them, like, man, I think a lot of these little kids could identify with an older student that comes from, doesn't have a whole lot growing up. You know, when some just high school students saying, man, I barely had any shoes growing up, or, you know, we didn't have a phone, you know, and all these things, and saying, you know what, I'm doing something in my life, I got a scholarship, and you know what, when you grow up, you can do the same thing. It's like, just that. That's all I got to say. Sorry.
You know, you probably won't believe this, but when I was a kid, the phone that we had was attached to the wall. It was unbelievable. And popcorn, we had to cook it on the stove. Go figure. Yes?
You know, a couple of years ago, we were approached by Big Brothers Big Sisters to start, you know, pairing up some of our high school students with the lower elementary students. And we, you know, had a few hiccups getting all of that going because Big Brothers Big Sisters is, you know, it's just they've got so many rules they have to follow out. You know, all of the, I mean, it's almost I don't know, like, it's almost about a 2 to 3 month process from the point in time where a kid says, yes, I'll be a volunteer, until they actually get to be paired up with a little brother or little sister. But, you know, but that is a program that has been started in the last few years, and it is going pretty well.
So let's talk about, let's change direction just slightly. And in terms of, since we're pretty much all Farmer City here, in terms of Farmer City or the school, and we can think really big, or we can think really small, it doesn't matter. We can think really expensive, or we can think no cost at all. But what, and I'll start, okay? So the question is, what is something that we really need, whether it's the school or whether it's the town, or what's something that would make us better? Let's put it that way. So I'm going to throw out a suggestion. I see on Facebook, and I hear this time of year that people want to get out and walk, and they want to do some other things. So in my head, I said, how cool would it be if we measured off, we marked off a walking path? Now, we don't have to create a path. We have sidewalks. We have a downtown. What if we just had a starting point and some different trails, per se, and ending points, safe places to walk? And we said, okay, here's our starting point. Here's a mile and a half, and maybe different directions. And maybe people walked that. And maybe we took it through our business district. Maybe we took it through our park district. Maybe we took it through some other areas. Just a thought. Would it cost anything? Very, very little. The sidewalks are here, but that's an idea. And I'm going to take the other end of the spectrum. How awesome would it be to have an arena? You know, will that happen? Probably not. But you know, a 15,000 seat arena that had a stage and had concert seating and all these other things, that would be really cool too. Okay, so that's the spectrum. Okay. Get the Cubs here, that'd be great. But the point is, don't, in our minds, don't say, oh, that'll never happen. Let's just say, what if? What if we could? All right. What are some things that we need? Business, entertainment, recreation, whatever it is. What are your thoughts? Yes.
I'd go middle of the road of what you talked about. Build a giant indoor track that we could host events at. Support the kids, support the community. Indoor walking track, we've got the space. Our track isn't usable to host events currently, but if the program is there.
Okay, indoor track. Anyone else? Don't think too hard on this. We're just throwing out ideas.
Park district.
A park district.
Yes.
A park district. Got it. Other ideas? We got everything else we need? Go ahead, Sue.
I'd like to see a dog park.
A dog park.
Yes. And keep it concentrated where the poo has to be cleaned out.
So keep the poo confined to one area.
To one fenced-in area, yeah.
And you're specifically referencing dog park. Got it.
Yes.
Other thoughts?
An agency that collects all of the things that are available in the community. And I mean, I am not a Facebook user. I mean, it's above my pay grade, and I'm too old for this stuff, I guess. But anyway, we need to have access readily available for the different things that we can do and be involved in. I don't think there's a list anywhere that names all the different things that are available. And one of the reasons I moved to this community was because I knew some things that were available that I valued. And so I think to get volunteers or to get people interested, they have to know what's going on. And there's no central place where you can collect it. And Facebook ain't it, because there are a lot of us that don't do it.
So a central, I'm going to take that a little bit further, so not just, but a central information center.
Right.
So it can be on, how do I get my utilities turned on, to where's the Easter egg hunt, to how do I volunteer, to what time is the Sammy Kershaw concert, to those types of things. Okay, so central information office. Okay.
Updating the website, maybe?
Updating what website?
The Farmer City website.
So
that's how I found out about all the various, like the garden club, the food pantry. I found out about all of this stuff through the website. It's extremely difficult to navigate. It's not in one spot. You know, just an easier to navigate. Maybe a community calendar that's available and different organizations can put their information on it.
Okay. So an updated website to go along with the central information. Yes.
I was going to say, we're working on a current community guide, and if you read it, people, it tells you a lot of this information. But it will be put out as an insert in the Leroy Press this year. So it will go, and it will be the week that you get the free paper, so everybody will get one. But it does have all the organizations. It has contact information. It has calendar of events, raceway schedule. There will be an article this year that tells exactly what happens at the Sunshine Center, describing the difference between the food pantry, the clothes closet, outreach, just lots of general information about what's going on in Farmer City.
Is there a deadline to get you information, or is it already done?
We're working on it. So it's getting ready to go to the printer.
Oh, okay.
So soon.
So we're taking
Very
information.
soon. Yeah.
Okay.
So if anyone has any information for the community guide, they should contact you, or?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Okay.
And outreach.
So
928-9400.
928-9400, that gets you Sharon at the outreach, and she can get your information into the community guide. Fantastic. Okay, what else do we need? What's the school need? What's the... Yes, sir.
This is, I've seen other communities do this, and, okay, is this I know my size doesn't look like it, but I am a jogger. I also like to ride bikes and stuff, and what I've seen in other communities is we pave over the exempt railroads and make walking trails out of those. It would be nice if we could go from Farmer City to Mansfield, because there's a stretch of track there that's not being used. So that's just one idea. Or, you know, if we are looking at long-term having the U of I do the boat races, what if we didn't make a trail along the, even if it's a gravel trail, along the course? Maybe that already exists, I don't know.
But there are walking trails out there. I've not walked them, but they are out there. I don't know. But yeah, absolutely.
And another thing, my name's John Lawrence. I'm principal of the high school. And if there's something you want, please ask, because there are comments out there that say we've contacted the school but haven't heard anything. Well, the excuse is we're all busy. But keep asking, and keep asking until you get a response from me or from one of our teachers as why we can't do that. We have a key club that is looking for projects to do. Like we mentioned before, you can get your you can get a public service stamped on your graduation or on your transcript. We also have a lot of kids every year that want to get into the National Honor Society, and service is a part of that. So I guess what I want to say is keep asking. We have a lot of groups. Like I said, we are busy, but we want to help you out as much as we can. But if you call us once or email us once and you don't get anything, keep coming back until we tell you why we can't do that. Because there's probably a good reason why we can't. We want to help the community out too, just like everybody else.
So Jessica, I know you missed that, but Mr. Lawrence said to keep asking for that indoor track, it'll happen.
Okay.
All right. Other thoughts, other ideas along those lines?
I think Sharon's thing is a great start, but obviously events are added throughout the years.
Right.
And there's tons of events going on this weekend, and most of us don't know about it because if we're not part of that, Farmageddon is this weekend. I could care less, except that it supports the Boy Scouts and I have gamers in my household. Otherwise, couldn't care. It's not going to affect. I don't have an issue going to the grocery store, but I'll gladly help out. And I come up to the Sunshine Center, but I don't know that realm, but I know the school realm. And I love the school realm, but I'm involved in it because that comes through because I'm involved and I know. So I try not to judge the stuff I'm not dealing with. It's so easy to judge it when you're not delved into it.
Yeah. So I agree. I think the community grant is fantastic, but there are updates through the year, obviously, that we would need to include on a website or evil Facebook or whatever it is. But there does need to be some site. So I don't want to have us go too long, but there's a few things I guess to kind of wrap up on. And I think what's really, really important is we take Scott's lead from the last meeting, and I hope that people are sitting here and thinking, okay, yeah, gosh, we can do this, or we can do that, or I really believe we can get this done, or some ideas are running through people's minds. Otherwise, we've just had a great time, getting together and sharing some stories, and that's okay too. I'm not saying it isn't. But ultimately, our goal here is to take it to the next step, and it's where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? So before you leave tonight, I hope that people think, okay, or when we get home, or this weekend, where do we go from here? What's the next step? What do we do? How do we make things better? How do we keep the things we have that are great? All those things. So in our minds collectively, hopefully that's why we're getting together. My wife asked me that, well, why are you doing this? It's a long story, it really is, and I didn't have all that time, but that's why we do this. The second half of this question, and again, I anticipated our crowd would be half of what the first one is. People come because they're curious. They found out we weren't going to be yelling at each other and screaming at each other and saying a whole bunch of negative stuff, so it's not exciting to come to the next one, okay? But the important thing is, as a group, again, I'm glad to keep coming here. I'm glad to keep, doing whatever we need to do. But as a group, do we continue? And I'd really like a show of hands. I mean, do people in this room think that this input evening is valuable? By a show of hands, yes. By a show of hands, no. Okay. Darn it, you forced me into it. And the second half of that is it doesn't have to be me. How this came about was I have an email Facebook page called Farmer City Blue Ridge Community Input. And it was designed to, the original reasoning for that was because there were so many times I would hear people say, how do I do this? Where do I find this? I'm frustrated with this. Why can't we do this? And the idea was, when someone said, how do I volunteer? Not very many people said that. How do I volunteer? When does the swimming pool open? How do my kids sign up for Little League Baseball? Someone could pop in there and say, I've got that information, it's right here. Someone could come in and say, I don't like, I don't like this. And the thought is, okay, can that be fixed? Can that be changed? So that was the whole idea around the community input page. That was its design. And at some point, people said, why don't we get together? Why don't we get together face to face and just have a discussion? So the last one, that's what this was. And I won't mention any names, Liz, but I got a call every week from somebody who said, when are you going to do the next one? When are you going to do the next one? And because I didn't want to change my phone number, here we are. So, but literally the point is we have to have something come out of it. So otherwise it's great, it's fun to see everybody, but we need some positives. Yes, sir.
I just want to say, I hope my comments earlier did not come off as negative, because that's not how they were meant. I realize that Facebook is not representative of an entire community. I simply want to point out that the anger that exists in this town, we have to make something productive come of it. And if you were to ask me if we would move here if I knew all this, I would say 100% yes, we'd still come here, because I think things are messed up right now, but they're going to get better, and we want to be a part of that.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. And by the way, I'll give you a ride home because somebody slashed your tires. I'm sorry about that. I hope that really didn't happen. Any other closing comments? Any other thoughts? Yes, sir. Kevin?
Yeah. I think what you guys are doing here is great. I think what you guys are doing here is great. Anytime a group of people, which is a community, is struggling, and most communities are with various different things, Farmer City's not alone in that. But the ones who really tend to turn things around and become successful places, it doesn't happen usually because the elected officials get it done. It happens because meetings like this, people get involved and volunteer to do various things. It becomes a collective effort. It kind of grows on itself. So I think what you guys are doing is great. The other thing I wanted to throw out, I heard some comments earlier about businesses. That's what the DCDC is here for, is to help businesses. Mark Killo is here with me tonight, and he spends a lot of time in Farmer City. And I'll give you the phone number. Our phone number is 935-0500. And if you know somebody who you think might need some assistance with their business, please pass that number along to them, and have to get in touch with Mark, and we'll do everything we can to help them out. But I think this is great.
So I'm going to make one real quick comment on that. So Kevin and I recently, one of our volunteer jobs on DCDC is we go visit some businesses occasionally, and we were in Clinton a couple weeks ago, or 3 or 4 weeks ago, and one of the comments there, and it took me back a little bit because I wasn't expecting it, but one of the comments is, it seems like you guys have everything going on in Farmer City. We wish we had that. And I paused for a minute because we don't think that way. We don't see those things. And I said, well, what do you mean? Well, he said, well, you got the nicest Casey's in the state. You have a brand new pharmacy. You've got, all of a sudden these things are coming out with, I'm sitting there thinking, yeah, I'm taking all those things for granted, I guess. But you're right. Are we going to is General Motors going to open up a car manufacturing plant in Farmer City? I wish, but no, absolutely, it'll be in Mexico. So we also have to put things in perspective. So, and sometimes to get that, yes, we do get some negative perspective from outside, but there's also some very good perspective that we don't always get to hear. So thanks for pointing that out. Mark, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that I do a lot of cold calling during the week. I work on Farmer City, Clinton, the entire county. On our database, on our website, we have a community calendar, and we work very hard at making sure that we have all the Farmer City events, Clinton events, and county events. And you can also call this number, the 0500, speak with Tricia Young, our She's our office manager, and she takes care of all of those events. She posts them on her calendar, and they're accessible 24/7. I was, like I said, I'm trying to bring new businesses to Farmer City. We did help with the pharmacy a lot. We're helping Larry with 20 acres. I'm in touch with Larry all the time. We do come over here, so we are making some strides. Butte County's not on everybody's radar, like Champaign-Urbana is and Bloomington-Normal. So we have to go that extra mile to try to attract businesses to the county. So, the website, if you want to write it down, is www.dcdc-illinois.org. I have 3 business cards on me for a group of 50. That wasn't too smart, but anyway, I have 3 business cards that I can share. But anytime, give us a call if you have a question, if you have an idea. I'm always looking for ideas to what we can try to bring here. Sometimes I run out of ideas when I'm trying to cold call and trying to bring new businesses, and so I reach out to Larry. Okay, what do you have open here? A lot of times our problem is we don't have available sites in Farmer City, and it's the same problem in Clinton. There's a lack of buildings. There's a lack of building sites. But you've got that wonderful 20 acres, and they're trying to really move that along here. Go out to the interstate. That's part of the business district plan. And so you guys have a lot going on here. You should be proud. So.
Thank you, Mark. Brent, before we wrap up, is there anything you want to say? You're always very eloquent.
Jessica kind of highlighted something going on here tomorrow. Though you're not in our target audience at all in here, with the exception of a few of you. This is our 3rd year for a fundraiser that we have with the Boy Scouts. It's called Farmageddon. It is a game convention. So what we do is we just bring a lot of people in from the outside. So about 90% of the people signed up to come in here that are bringing money into our Boy Scout troop live in Champaign area, Bloomington area. They all come in here, and that's kind of cool because there's individual communities there. We kind of bring them all together. So the easiest way to explain it is, if you've heard of Dungeons and Dragons, which most of you have, that's one of the primary games, not that, but actually an offshoot called Pathfinder. And they all get together, and literally from 7 o'clock tomorrow night until 6 o'clock Sunday, we'll be playing. Just a bunch of different sessions, a bunch of different tables. If you're curious, come along, stick your head in. You'll see a bunch of gamers having a good time. We'll all be kind of into it, and somebody's going to scream because they killed a goblin or something. That's generally the course of it. But you can come in and take a look, and it is, just so everybody knows, it is not an official Scout event, only because the bar's open. But all the proceeds go to the Scouts, and we're probably going to make about $1,000, which is about 20 to 25% of our budget to get to Canada. We're going to do that again in July, so first week of July we're on our way. So again, it's called Farmageddon. This is the 3rd year, and this time around we have like 80% of our slots are filled up from pre-registration, so even before people walking in. And that's huge. That just doesn't happen, so we've been supported very well for it. So if you have nieces, nephews, grandkids, or you're just curious yourself, bring them on in. We've still got some room for people, but it's fun. That's it. All right, thank you.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
About Cash Bash here in 2 weeks.
Yeah. I just talked about that one, haven't I?
Yeah.
2 weeks. What is the date? It's the 23rd. Okay, so April 23rd, the Cash Bash. Is that the 3rd, 4th year for Cash Bash?
5th year.
Really?
Yeah, I know.
So Cash Bash for the schools. It is a fundraiser, obviously, for the boosters. Boosters have done just a lot of wonderful things. So this whole room will be transformed into an area where we're picking off numbers. So you'll buy a number. There's $75, I believe, this year. Is that correct? $75. And it's a drawdown. So your numbers will get pulled. When your number gets pulled, not a good thing. You want to be the last one. Now, there is money that is gained along the way. So if you're like every 5th number or every 6th number or something, there is money to be won along the way. But the last ticket drawn, Jessica, what's the big draw? $2,000 to the last person whose number gets picked. So that's 2 weeks. There's always numbers available, and we'd really love to sell that out. So booster members, booster club folks are the ones that you want to get a hold of. If you're not sure how, you can always get a hold of the school there and find them. But it's a good time, it is. If anything, you just come here for the party because it's turned into a bit of a party, which is kind of the idea. So just a good way to support the students.
Okay. So we're going to wrap up everything. So again, the takeaway from tonight is if we leave here, our mindset hopefully is, hey, this was good. This inspired me. Let's get something done, whatever it is. I'm absolutely, I'm absolutely available. I know after the last one, I really could not work for 2 weeks because my intention, and we didn't take names, we didn't take emails tonight, because the last time I planned to call everybody that left a number, thank them for coming, and it just didn't happen. I mean, I literally could not work for 2 weeks because I was responding to emails and phone calls and from this particular meeting. I'm absolutely glad to do that again. It's not a problem, but I didn't want to put the pressure on me of trying to call folks when it may not actually happen. So, again, I don't need to be contacted in any way. I am glad to be contacted in any way. But what we really want to do is, if there's an idea, if there's something, if you're new to town, I just don't know how, I've got this great idea, I just don't know how to do it, find me. Find somebody and say, okay, this is what we want to get done. This would be great. Okay, whatever that is. Let's get that indoor arena built. Let's get that, whatever it is. Let's make a positive difference. So, any last comments that anyone wants to make? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm Tim Evans. I'm the general manager for Leroy Farm City Press, and just wanted to, hopefully people see the paper, and hopefully you subscribe to the paper, because we do have a community calendar in there, and we do accept, all this stuff that you're talking about. Whatever, if you need volunteers, if you need things, whatever, we can get that in the paper for you, whatever. So the address is on the thing. It's Jerry glad to put those things in the paper. We're glad to put those things in the paper. That's why we're here. That's why we created the paper here 5-6 years ago. So this is what it's about. Whatever, we're a communication tool for the community, and that's what we want to be. So we welcome those kind of things, and please give it to us, okay?
And really,
Jerry can't be everywhere, so we need your cooperation.
And Jerry's a great guy, and we're really so thankful to have a weekly newspaper in this community, because it really does ties us all together and keeps us informed. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for the paper for our community as well. Any last comments before we go? Yes, sir.
Well, I noticed our numbers are down just a little bit because, we're not arguing with each other, but I think, I think it's great that everybody came out again tonight, and I think everybody ought to bring a friend next time. Get our numbers up, and then now we can get the word spread about actually what we're doing here.
Okay. Thank you so much. Any other comments? I don't want anyone to leave here without having said what they want to say. Okay, with that being said, again, Scott, go ahead.
Okay, I know you already talked about the campground area, and I missed all that because I thought this started at 7. But, you guys talked about the kids at the school doing stuff. I don't know if you guys know, but the shop class is building our picnic tables. We bought the materials. They offered to take care of building those shop projects. We've also had lots of other businesses contribute. We've had 21 picnic tables purchased by local businesses. Exelon has also kicked in. We have our 21 fire rings coming next week. So we've had a lot of, community businesses and volunteers and everything help with that. It's been fabulous. So if you guys are looking for something, I always have wood chips to spread out there. Help yourself. There's a huge pile. But that's all I've got. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for your work on that project too, Scott. Okay, one last opportunity. Anybody, any last comments? Speak now for roll your piece. Okay, thanks again for coming. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
Good to see you.